in the game itself here on Daybreak. It is all about that base trade, no trouble. We've got our first little drone coming out, checking out the Terran base. Speaking of Terrans, up here on the top right-hand side of the map, we do have our yellow Terran player representing noobdom, proud and strong. It is
noobPride.
And his opponent down on the bottom left-hand side of the map, we have a Zerg player who is not afraid to hurt his corneas. It is
FaceTheSun.
I wonder if Zerg actually like the sun. They seem to like, a lot of the animations show them as being like in caves or weird stuff. So we did have the hatch first there. Pool is down. Obviously, gas is already completed. Gas is being taken for our Terran player here as well, and a Reaper is well on the way. We'll soon be hopping on out and making his way across the map. This is kind of an odd one for Reaper. Like, the surface area that he can get up and down is a little choked out compared to some of the newer maps. Dreampool did not anticipate the awesomeness of the Reaper quite as much. He can kind of go up this corner and up the other corner, but other than that, you're probably too close to the hatch to really make a whole lot of maneuvering room, but he will get in and get a scout on what's going on, probably checks how much gas has been taken here, and will get that first drone. He's not even struggling to try and get away from this. Getting 2 kills early on like that, pretty good. The 2 lings do come out and shove this back for the time being. The other 2 just chilling on the low ground, so he's reasonably well covered. The factory just completing, and then the command center coming out for noobPride as well. Overlords taking their awesome little positions around this map. This is kind of one of those good ones for having those hidden high ground type places for the overlords to kind of hide without letting someone get underneath them. Reaper's still trying to poke around here, but yeah, you can see with the limited area to jump up, his opponent kind of knows where he's going to have to go up and down, but he does still get in and get this scout off to see that the baneling nest is what's going down immediately. Whether that indicates an actual baneling bust or anything like that, or whether he's just getting that tech for a little later, remains to be seen at this point. But speed is just about finishing up, and it looks like our Terran is going for cloak immediately on the Banshee producing starport here. He's actually throwing down a bunker. I think after seeing that potential baneling bust, he wants to be safe, knowing that this is where a lot of his money is going into this Banshee. But the Overlord does come in, and we'll be able to see that that's researching. The Marines will take it down, but not before, obviously, he gets all that information. So pretty good placement on that Overlord, and he knew the timing of when to come in to actually see if any such things were going down. There's a lot of lings out here that the Reaper's going to see as he kind of gets chased back off here. He may get run down. Playing ring around the rosy a little bit. But seeing this number, you kind of expect some sort of aggression to be coming through. And the Banshee passes directly over the lings. So they're both aware of what's going on from each other. Spore is already down in the natural, and one coming down in the main as well, just finishing. And the cloak is just about to be finished up in about 10 seconds as well. At the same time, we've got banelings morphing in outside the Terran main, but that Terran is walled really well, quite strongly. That Spore is out of place. It's actually in front there, allowing this Banshee to just come in from behind. Watching the front of the Terran base, though, I don't think there's really going to be enough. Oh, there is a hole there. But the Widow Mine's clearing up a fair bit of that. A few lings do still get in there, There's about 7 of them. We'll get some worker kills, but ultimately are going to get cleaned up here, and I don't think that certainly was worth the cost. The Banshee's still going to town here. He's got 8 kills in the back of that mineral line, but this Spore will get down and end up killing the Banshee there, but still pretty good work. Obviously, things have gone Terran's way so far. He made the right call of anticipating the Baneling bust. I like the real spread of these Widow Mines here as well. He has a nice little triangular pattern going on, and he knew what he had to do to defend that, and gets the kills on his own end, of course, as well. So we've got both players looking, well, the Zerg looking a little bit more hurt. The actual worker count, not that bad. He's still got 23 drones left, but it looks like he's still committing a few more into these Lings himself compared to 27 SCVs from our Terran player. One thing that did prevent that number from spiking quite a bit more than that is that the orbitals kind of during some of that were not actually making SCVs, so he could be a little bit further ahead, but he's going to go for a 3rd command center immediately and then wall off here on the low ground. He's being extra safe with this, double bunkers going up, pretty strong walls everywhere. He hasn't even salvaged the ones at the top again to reuse those or anything yet, so he's being pretty safe. I think he knows that he's got a bit of a lead here. He might even think that he has more of one than he actually does. The drones are now back up to 31, and certainly the Terran still has, I think, a lead when he's even in terms of the workers, because of course you get the mules and everything on top of that, and of course the 3rd command center already coming down as well, but still he might think he's a little farther ahead than he is given how much damage he did, but not quite getting his own worker count as high as it could be. Does kind of cost him a little bit there. And you can kind of see if we check back in with like the command center and the main or the orbital there, there's periods of time where he's just not making SCVs, and that does make a bit of a difference. But getting 3 more drone kills here is our Banshee. So still putting in some fairly decent work, and of course they're the type of thing that if your opponent doesn't maintain some form of anti-air option, you can kind of just keep the Banshees with your main army. So he didn't overcommit or go in and lose the ones that he did make. He lost like the first one, but that's about it, and that one certainly paid for itself easily. So now he's just kind of got Banshees with the investment already made that will play a role a bit later on in this game. Our Zerg player probably wants to be thinking about expanding from here. I'm not sure what direction he's heading in. He's got this really good spread of his Lings around the map. He's got some reasonable vision with Overlords so far. One thing that's not really pumping out yet is the creep itself, but he's getting mutas to add some mobility. It would be nice to have creep, though, obviously, if you're going to have to defend something. As you go and harass with the mutas, you may find that that's a time that Terran likes to attack, so having that creep out definitely gets your Banelings a little more speed, a little more mobility in connecting with the Terran army. A few tanks on the low ground there, or just one actually right now, but he's got the sensor tower down as well, which is going to give a really good look of what's going on, and that location is really strong in terms of protecting the natural and the both potential bases. That 3rd base there, the 4th base kind of out front, lets you see kind of what's going on, whether it's clear to actually move a command center out. The Overlord up top may get picked off now that he's got the vision. And it looks like the orbital is just going to land out in the front position there, as our Zerg does take a 3rd base towards the top portion. Will the Terran be brave and clear the rocks in the middle? It's often such, if you feel like you're the aggressor, you do want to take those down, but if you take them down and it turns out you're the defender, you've really given your opponent a shortcut in. But with this many mutas, if he's realized it, there's not going to be a whole lot of other army that's actually on the ground. There's not really much there. 14 lings, 11 banelings is pretty good, but given the composition of the Terran army, there's a lot of marauders here, a decent number of widow mines with it as well. So 11 banelings isn't going to get you all that far, and neither is really 12 mutas. It looks like our Terran is opting to be a bit aggressive here, wants to come out where these mutas going. They can't really go right over the army, and they will pull back. Gets a scan off on the high ground, wants to see what is actually up there. Doesn't obviously want to walk. There's the destructible debris right in the front. He'd like to probably take that out without overly tipping his hands so that he's got a little more space to walk up as opposed to just being funneled in that one particular area. A lot more banelings coming in. That's definitely going to be key to this, but he needs to also have something else to actually keep damage going while the Terran force splits away. We're going to have a drop directly into the main base here, and that's going to pull over these mutalisks. The other set of Terran forces is just coming up into the natural area, getting trapped in a corner here. Bainley's getting some pretty good connections. That does force a little bit of a pickup here, but there's still some bio left over, as a lot of these marauders are certainly still alive, and there's a strong fighting force here. 70 army supply, 227 for the Zerg, and he just has no real way to actually come and engage this. He got kind of hits that he wanted, but everything is so tanky, and there is nothing there to deal with it afterwards. These lings are just kind of streaming in now, trying to go after what are some fairly badly damaged units, but I think there may just be too much of this to do much. Some nice connections here, but you can see how ineffective they are against the Marauders. And this single oddly placed Thor comes in and will be taking out the lair as well as the spawning pool. He may ultimately be able to clean this up, but no, there's really be no point to it anyway, even if he could. He had lost the game, so will tap out, or at least looks like he's going to leave. Yeah, there he goes. So here we are on the much more familiar overgrowth, or at least recently familiar overgrowth. Up here on the top right-hand side of the map, we do have our red Zerg player. He's probably red because he spent too much time. See, I know it would be better if it said facing
Face
the sun, but he's face the sun. He got sunburned. And then the other person who is literally the color of the sun, yellow. No, it's actually white. We perceive it as yellow, but it is not in fact yellow. The sun's actual color is white. But it's the way we see through our atmosphere. It has something to do with why the sky is blue and the way that it diffracts. It will shift everything towards that end of the spectrum. So when the sun would ordinarily be white, we do end up seeing it blue shift, which, given its luminosity, ends up being yellow from our perspective. But a hatchery is down, and the pool is coming down. So this actually does look like a fairly similar opening so far here by Face the Sun, and we've actually got a pretty similar opening from noobPride as well, as this Reaper does stream his way across the map, setting out fire behind him. This fire, of course, is reasonably cold fire, as it does glow orange. But he will try and reunite with the safety of this bunker, which is just about to finish, and there's really been not much of a strong reaction yet for Face the Sun. He has trying to put the spine crawler up here in the main base. He will lose one drone here to the Reaper. He's got to be a little careful not to get immediately trapped by these lings that come out. The two lings could have tried to go after him there. But he will run to the safety of that bunker and start going to very slow work on the hatchery. In the olden days, a Reaper would have already killed the hatchery with his grenades or whatever the hell they were. But nowadays, Reaper's much better but much weaker. And get the spine crawler trying to come down to the low ground, see if you can find a sweet spot to get in. Reaper coming on out, and we'll have to make a quick dive back down. Interesting here, just kind of abandoning the position. This is, I guess, I don't know. I feel that's unusual that you see that, to actually successfully get the bunker up, have really nothing super on the verge of stopping you, but he only made the one Reaper. Often you'll see the Terran try and push it into either getting a few Marines with it or just keep pumping Reapers out to try and fill the thing up and actually do a whole lot of damage. But either way, he was kind of annoying there. He did force out a lot of lings, which is still a bit of a victory. You can see that there's only 16 drones on the map at the moment. So just forcing a few of them to become, well, a couple of them to become spine crawlers and these lings to exist as opposed to not existing and existing as drones instead does make a fair bit of difference there. And his opponent's going to try and catch up on the drone count. We've got the Overlord swinging on in. Again, probably wants to get some idea if more kind of cloak shenanigans or anything are up. And the medevac going to pick up these 4 Hellions and then cruise towards the main base past these Overlords, who will see them drop out. Hellions coming through. We'll try and roast these drones, but the Lings doing a pretty good job of keeping them away. One of them does fall there, so does chase it out. Just a tiny bit of lost mining time. I don't think, did he end up getting, I don't feel like he got a kill there. I'm not sure, maybe one. But yeah, obviously not doing the max damage that he wanted, but I think he's going to take another poke in it again. And this time around, the Lings have run out more in the middle of the map. See if they come back as he spots this Hellion run by once again. As soon as he activates it, and there they go. Swinging around a long round back. Roasting the 1 or 2 on the gas here. And then just going for the pickup as the Lings do swing on back. So it gets 3 more. Not huge, but obviously every bit helps there. And it's keeping the drone count to just 24 compared to 31 SCVs. And that's going to make a pretty big difference. The Lings trying to get mobile on the map or get something done, but they keep getting kind of called back home. There's not really a lot of a place to go with this. They're out on the map, but there's a bunker up. There's Widow Mines behind that. Nice little snag there by these Lings that are running around, just looking for something to do, maybe trying to deny a third base or anything from going down, but that's not actually finished building yet. What was that? What did the Widow Mine explode on? Was that like the Overlord? I don't know. He's next to an injured SUV. I'm not sure what that hit on, but it doesn't matter. Nothing important. Hellions are gonna fly away in this medevac yet again, but there's already Lings kind of in place in the best position that they would like to be. No third base yet for our Zerg player here. He's actually banking up a fair number of resources. Does have the lair finished, but isn't throwing down any other tech. In fact, there's literally nothing on the Zerg production tab at the moment. We'll throw down 2 Evo chambers. Lings will try and just take 1 big hit, and then there's a big pickup of all the Hellions. It's amazing how much just that single blast can do. They will try and heal themselves back up. But no indication of kind of in the long run what our Zerg's tech path is going to be. There we go. just now behind the natural base. We do have the spire coming down. So kind of like I said, between matches, I think that's the direction he sort of wants to be in, but I don't know that the economy actually supports this. There's only 30 drones out. There's only 2 bases. You can see that the main base is really undermined. At the moment, he's only got 1 on each gas, 7 on the mineral patches, and our Terran is going to come in with a ridiculous army at the moment here. So many Widow Mines, and there's nothing. There's just nothing that's going to stop this at this point. He could play Transfuse on the spine crawler forever or something, but there's really not a lot that's going to hold. No, a nice little hot pickup of that Hellbat to make sure it doesn't go down to the queens there. If he does get something in the air, the Vikings are already out as well. Like, one weak point to this is often that there's only going to be a few Marines and the Hellbats don't shoot up, but he's already got Vikings out. He's got a huge number of Widow Mines. These are all dead immediately. And that's it. So it looks like noobPride is going to be advancing to the winners match here immediately. This is just kind of one of those armies that if you're not really prepared for, it's absolutely going to steamroll you. But nothing was there to deal with the mines. Nothing was there to deal with the Hellbats. He was opting to play a little later game and try and get the Spire up and get some control in the air, but unfortunately it just wasn't happening for him. So noobPride will advance 2-0.